On behalf of Sheriff Manuel Gonzalez III and the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, welcome. We appreciate you coming to this awards ceremony. This is one of my favorite times of the day when we get to recognize the good work that our people do on a regular basis. You know, a lot of times we go throughout the day just doing our jobs, helping people, working with the citizens, and a lot of times the work that our people do goes unrecognized. I can guarantee you that even as we meet in this room and we're talking about some of the great things that our deputies and the civilians have done, even now there's deputies on the street that are serving our community, that are helping others, that are part of this great community that we serve. So we appreciate that. Sheriff Gonzalez, as you know, is very dedicated to the community, the partnerships that we have in our community, the ability for people to come to us with their problems and us work together in a collaborative partnership to solve those problems. That's what we're here for. And so we like to walk hand in hand with the community. We like to walk shoulder to shoulder with them. And I think you'll see today some of these awards that we are giving are people doing exactly that, the deputies working hand in hand with the community. So with that, we'll start this award ceremony. The first award that we are going to recognize is Civilian of the Quarter. I don't know if these individuals made it, and here's why. They are short-staffed. Are they there? Okay, good. Okay, not all of them made it, I think. So, and here's why. They're short-staffed. They work in RMS and warrants, and that's part of the reason why they got the award is because they're short-staffed and they're working around the clock to make sure that the deputies' needs are met and the community's needs are met. So I'm going to mention all of their names. Some of them were in attendance. We'll ask them to come forward. The other ones just know they're working, so we recognize them as well. The first one is Sharon Marquez, Orlando Baca, Felicia Vigil, Vanessa Vigil, Danielle Cedillo, and Christy Clower. So if you would come up, and I will read what they got their award for. Thank you, ladies. The warrant section of RMS is a 24/7 operation. These employees of the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office know all too well the sacrifices that have to be made in the name of safety to the community. The dedication, according to their supervisor, is unmatched. They work long hours, and I'll read some of the notes that he mentioned specifically. Their supervisor is James Klein. He says, as I've expressed, short staffing levels and many hours away from family is all too familiar situation for sworn law enforcement and civilian staff. Oftentimes, these individuals in RMS are required to work 16-hour shifts back to back. Currently, they are working 12 days on shift and 2 days off with double shifts worked in between. They are also on call every week. They do this week in and week out in an effort to meet the mission and support our deputies on the streets. They never complain and are extremely supportive to everyone we work with, especially each other. As their supervisor for approximately 2 years, I am extremely impressed with the work ethic, the dedication, and their commitment to the community. They wholeheartedly support their team. I have inherited a strong and dedicated staff, and for that I am extremely grateful. We appreciate your dedication to our department and to the community. Thank you so much for this. And ladies, if you don't mind, Sheriff, we take a picture up here.
Yeah, please step over just a little bit this way.
Come on, Sharon.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you all very much. The next award goes to the non-uniformed deputies of the quarter. The next award goes to Detective Aaron Schwartz and Detective Chelsea Mora. If you all would come up. So I'm going to say a couple things kind of off script. They got an award for a great event that they were involved in, that they took the initiative on, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But, you know, in the time that they were dealing with this, I know that I called on Detective Schwartz a couple times. Specifically, one I remember is a embezzled RV that ended up in Texas somehow, and Detective Schwartz tracked it down and was able to get the RV recovered and get payment made to the individual company that the RV had been taken from. And that's just, I mean, he didn't receive an award for that or nothing like that, but it just shows his dedication. And I'll say this about Chelsea. Chelsea works relentlessly for our GRIP unit, which is one of our gang units. And she manages the grant. She tracks all the overtime. She tracks the statistics. Her administrative skills are unbelievable. And she does that on top of all of her other duties. And she does an excellent job. I'll also say this about Chelsea, and I'm probably going to embarrass her, but it goes to show kind of the person that she is. Not too many people probably even know this, but recently she went to one of her supervisors and she said to her supervisor, "Hey, I got a really nice vehicle that I don't use." It was a marked unit that she didn't use, and she gave it up to somebody that could use it in the department, and she ended up getting kind of a much lesser vehicle in return. And again, she didn't really care that anybody knew that. She didn't ask for any recognition, but that's the type of person that she is. So this award that I'll talk about is well deserved. It goes far and above just what we're talking about in this award. But on December 8th of 2020, we were contacted by an individual that worked at an elementary school. The elementary school is not in our jurisdiction. It's in the city. The individual at the school had tried to contact another agency multiple occasions and had honestly been given the runaround, had been sent to many different numbers and many different people trying to get help for some kids that were having some struggles in school. The struggles came from their fear of crime in their community, and these are young kids. Their ages are 9, 7, and 13. So the elementary school reached out to us, to BCSO, and Lieutenant Kimbrough reached out to Chelsea and to Aaron and asked them if they would be willing to kind of jump in and see if they could help these kids. They did exactly that. They jumped in, they created a relationship and a bond with these kids. I mean, I could tell you what they did. They went out and got them toys. They went to their house, and I think Aaron probably rode skateboards with the boys on the street, and I wish we had a video camera to record that, but they built a relationship with these kids. I can show you a picture here that I pulled, and it shows the kids and Detective Schwartz and Detective Mora, with some gifts that they gave them. And they created a relationship with some young community members, these kids. And they gave of their time. They gave of their own, their own time, their off-duty time. They went, they took care of these kids. They built a relationship with them. This is from their mother. This is from the children's mother. She said, "Hello, Lieutenant Kimbrough. I wanted to thank you and your department for helping out with my children's fears. Detective Schwartz and Deputy Mora are amazing. They reassured my kids that it is safe to play outside. They got them treats, pizza and donuts," which is something we could talk about later. But my kids are so happy and said they feel better. I can't thank you guys enough. Community involvement like this embodies what BCSO is all about. Deputy Schwartz and Mora went above what was expected. They showed exactly what it means to be a deputy with the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. I appreciate them, and thank you guys for your dedication.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a quick picture here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cub. Appreciate it.
See you, brother. All right, the next award is for the uniform deputies of the quarter. The uniform deputy of the quarter goes to Deputy Richards and Deputy Zabo. Zabo, sorry. Come on up, guys. I would ask this and just pose this question to those that are joining us on social media and to the crowd here that, what is service? And you can tell that our department is about service, but what is service without giving of yourself? And we saw that in the last award that we gave out. And then I would ask this question, what is compassion? Because we do have compassion for the people, but what is that compassion without action? And I'll say this, these guys put those the service, and the compassion, they put action behind those and made it real. On January 27th of 2021, they were dispatched to a fire station and responded to a welfare check of a female. The female was having some problems, and the problems stemmed from her not having a place to stay. She was homeless. And as you may know, in the East Mountains in January, it can get quite cold. So not having a place to stay, she was in crisis. She needed help. So these deputies took it upon themselves. They went out. They looked for her a place at a homeless shelter. I think they went to several different locations, as the letter indicates, and tried to find her a place to stay. There was no availability for her. They couldn't find her a place at the homeless shelter. And so these deputies, of their own accord, went to a hotel, and they took money out of their own pockets, and they paid for a room for her for a place to stay. So again, I'll kind of revisit those questions that I asked. You know, what is service without giving of yourself? And what is compassion without putting action behind it? These deputies really embody that service and that compassion. And I appreciate you guys representing our department in a very positive way.
So, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. The next award is the Life Saving Award. We have several recipients for the first quarter. The first incident that I'll talk about is Deputy Fincher and Deputy Coggins. If you guys would come up, please. So I think a lot of times what happens is, and I'm sure it happened to these guys, they got dressed for patrol that day. They went out. We never really know what the day holds for us. We don't know if we're going to be involved in a chase or a pursuit or a shooting or saving somebody's life, or, you know, the next incident I'll talk about is a guy that was going to jump off a bridge, and are we going to have to talk somebody out of a suicidal attempt? Those types of things. These deputies, no doubt, had no idea what the day had in store for them, but they were dispatched to a ditch bank in the area of Foothill in the Southwest Valley for a female that was having a medical episode of some sort. So they went, again, not knowing what to expect, and found the female. It was determined that she was unconscious and possibly had overdosed on some narcotics, and they immediately took action. They rendered aid, doing CPR and the appropriate first aid, and ultimately the individual, the female, was brought back to consciousness and was transported to the hospital. Without their quick action, without their ability to transition from one call to a rescue call, without their ability to rely on their training to give CPR and medical aid, this individual very possibly would have died. So I want to commend them for saving this lady's life. I'm going to read just a quick blurb from their letter. It says, I believe the listed deputies show of professionalism and courage is a testament to the hard work and excellence that the deputies of the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office are well known for. It is a great honor and privilege to supervise and serve alongside these outstanding deputies. So, gentlemen, thank you for your service.
No fans.
I'll take it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. The next life-saving award goes to Deputy David Littlefield. So Deputy Littlefield, on December 22nd of 2020, was responding to a suicidal subject call in the area of Rio Bravo at the Rio Grande River, the bridge that spans the Rio Grande River. There was an individual there that was straddling the railing, threatening to jump off the bridge. These are calls that are hard to respond to because you never know that person's intent, right? You never know if their aim is to harm you as an individual, as a deputy, or to harm themselves, or to harm somebody else. You just never know. We don't know, obviously, when we arrive on scene, what the background is for this person. What kind of crisis are they in their life? And so it takes a lot of care and compassion. It takes us being able to adjust on the fly and to rely on our training. And let me just say this, I'm gonna pause for a second. I think that our training regiment here at the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office is substantial. When I look at these guys' files and the gals' files that are in the Sheriff's Department, their files are thick with certifications of training that they've received. And that's a testament to our command staff, to the sheriff's dedication, to the amount of training that we receive. And we can't, there's no way that we can go through scenarios of every event that we're gonna run into. But I know that I've done scenarios of a person that's going to jump or commit suicide. I'm sure that Deputy Littlefield has gone through similar scenarios. Those scenarios, that training helps us to prepare for events like this. So Deputy Littlefield did exactly what he should have done. He responded with compassion. He relied on his training. He talked to the individual and built some rapport with that individual. Ultimately, Deputy Littlefield made a personal, physical connection with the individual, asked for the man's hand, and the individual gave him his hand, and Deputy Littlefield brought him back onto the right side of the bridge and was able to get him some medical attention to deal with the crisis that he was going through. I don't know what the results would have been if Deputy Littlefield hadn't showed up that day. Would the individual have jumped and killed or injured themselves? It's very possible. But because of his compassion, because he relied on his training, he ultimately saved this man's life. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So that concludes all of the awards that we're going to give out today. I'm going to give the sheriff an opportunity to speak about our department and give him the last words of this ceremony. I appreciate you all coming to this and supporting our department as we support the community. For those of you that joined us on social media, thank you. We appreciate your comments and your support as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to the sheriff.
Thank you. I'll make it real brief. I just wanted to touch on those life-saving events, and I think oftentimes we don't really talk about the type of service we give. And so for me, when you get to an event like that and somebody's in crisis, you can't be dismissive of somebody's emotions. So the bottom line is that when you get to those situations, that you have to understand that what's going on with that person. Why are they feeling that way? And so sometimes if you see things escalating and people are getting angry, that means that you're probably being dismissive of that person's emotions. So whether that's in your personal life, professional life, all that stuff's relative to you mitigating those situations and handling them in the best care you can. So I just want to commend our staff, the people that are truly concerned about the people here. And of course, I always give you guys all the credit because you guys are doing the heavy lifting. So I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you. So I appreciate it, every single one of you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate that. Thank you all for coming. We will have the awards, the promotion ceremony shortly. So thank you all for joining us.